fellow YouTubers, welcome to this next video in which I'm looking at reviewing my lesson 31, and yes, that is a hint of what's to come. In this lesson we're going to be looking at the new Ego song, we're going to be looking at a new direction for the project song, we're going to be looking at different fingering for the pentatonic scales, everything that I covered in my lesson, and a whole lot more. I'll explain in just a moment, don't go away. So welcome back to the channel. Lots has been happening. Anybody that is following me will know that it's been a while since I did a lesson video. This is day 477. The lesson was undertaken on the 4th of November, and anybody that's following along closely will realise that that is 3 weeks since my last lesson, and that's because half term in the UK got in the way. Michael went on holiday and we didn't have a lesson, and I very nearly didn't get a face-to-face lesson on this occasion as well, because on the 5th of November the UK went into lockdown again, so I managed to get an hour face-to-face with Michael right at the last minute, almost 11th hour, and boy was I glad we did. The whole lesson completely fried my brain and it didn't quite go the way that I was expecting it to. So we started off just by talking about how I was getting on, and the Stand By Me was going okay. Michael's going to review the video that I did, but I'm reasonably happy. I know the timing is slightly out with the video that I did. It's slightly better when I haven't got the camera on, but I was okay with my progress with that song over the 2-week period. And I particularly wanted to move on to a new Ego song with a few new techniques for lots of different reasons. So Stand By Me has been parked, and the next time I pick that up will be when I get together with Matthew to do some jamming, or maybe I might just do a little bit more, but that's sort of parked at the moment. We did review the pentatonic scales very quickly. Box number 1 is fine, box number 2 is okay. Box number 3 I was struggling with, and I was struggling with the stretch, and I still am. Being a bit older, I haven't got the reach in my fingers, and I was struggling with the stretch a little bit. So I'm going to grab my sheet here because it's really annoying. The solution was painfully obvious, but I just didn't come up with it because I was blinded by gotta make the stretch. And Michael said, well, let's do a slightly different fingering. So the fingering for shape 3 is from the 6th string downwards. It's 5-7, 5-7, 5-7, 4-7, 5-8, 5-7. And it's that the 4-7 and the 5-8 that is the big stretch. And at one point I was trying to go across 4 frets and it was a nightmare. So we are doing this on the 5th fret, and the way that I'm playing it now is with my fingers is first finger, ring finger, first finger, ring finger, then first finger, little finger, and that's the change. Although we're still playing fret 7, we're using our little finger, because the little finger then enables me to stretch across to the 4th fret on the 3rd string, and then we can come down with the 4th finger for the 7th fret again, bring our first finger across to fret 5 on the 2nd string, and then bring our little finger across to fret 8 on the 5th string, and then we can just do the 5th and the 7th with our 1st and ring finger. So that new fingering has really opened up this shape where I was struggling with that before. So if you're struggling, if you're an older, more mature player like I am, and you haven't got the dexterity and the spread in your fingers, Then for shape 3, and again, remember these pentatonic shapes are available from my Patreon page. And if you can't find it, leave me a comment and I'll let you know where that is. But it is fret 5 with the first finger, fret 7 with the third, repeated on the 5th string, so first finger and third finger on the 5th and the 7th fret. And then when we go to the 4th string, we swap it out, so we play the 5th fret with our first finger and then the 7th fret with your 4th finger, which then gives you the stretch to get across to the 4th fret on the 3rd string with your first finger, and then you play the 7th fret on the 3rd string with your 4th finger, and it's just a case then of bringing everything over 1 fret and down to the 2nd string. So we're playing fret 5 with your first finger, fret 8 with your 4th finger, and then you can just drop your first finger down for fret 5 on the 1st string, and then using your ring finger for fret 7 on the 1st string. And I'm finding that to be a lot easier, and I'm starting to practice that. I haven't got the shape under my fingers yet, but it is getting there. Certainly better than it was last week when I was trying to work with a large stretch with my fingers. We then had a look at the new Ego song. I'm going to come back to that in a moment. Actually, I'll do that now because I'm just going to cover it very, very quickly. The new Ego song is Wonderful Tonight by Eric Clapton. And the reason why I've chosen to do that is for the soloing that I want to get into, and that's the project bit, I need to do some bending, which I've never done before, and I need to do some slides as well, which I've never done before. And the introduction that you heard at the beginning of this video starts off with some full tone bends. So we're going from the 10th fret up to the 12th effectively, which is quite a nice bend to get my fingers used to. And then at one point we slide from the 13th to the 15th fret, so it's a nice 2 fret slide. You could play that with another bend, but I'm playing it with a slide just so that I can introduce that. And sliding around on the 2nd string is really like cheese wire on my fingers. So I started to do this just this weekend, yesterday and today, and yesterday I really made my fingers sore to the point where they were almost bruised. And overnight they've toughened up a little bit. So what I've done is I've set an alarm on my phone, and around doing things during the day, what I'm trying to do is to pick up the guitar every half hour and just play through the riff once. And that's enabling me to rest my fingers in between, but continue to work on it. So it is getting there. And I won't go through a complete tutorial on that. If you're interested, then let me know. But at the moment, I'm just working on that initial part. So I'll just do this really slowly and let you know how I'm getting on. So it starts off on the 10th fret, bending up to the 12th. And then it's off for the 8 and then back on for the 10. And then we repeat that, but we go with the 9, the 9th fret, and then we repeat that. Then you wait for a moment, then we play that again. And then we get this beautiful little run up. So when we played the 10th fret, we then come up to the 12th, 13th, we then get the little slide from the 15th to the 17th. And I'm not great on the slide. I do tend to lift my finger off a little bit. And so it's something I need to work on. And then back to the 15th. And where we're holding the notes, we're supposed to be getting a little bit of a vibrato in there, which I'm not very strong on at the moment. I started off by trying to move my finger. Checked a few videos, and it's more from the wrist, and I know that Michelle and 1 or 2 others on this channel have mentioned before that it's wrist, but I sort of struggle to do that with my thumb on the back of the neck. It's a technique I'm going to have to work on. So once I'm working on the riff, and then once the riff is sorted out, the next thing that I need to do is to work on the chords. and the chords are driving me nuts again. So we start off with, and I haven't got the sheet with me, but we start off with the G chord, down, 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 up. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, and on the and we then need to switch to our D chord, and then on the and we need to switch then to the C chord, back to the D chord, then back to the G, and we repeat that again. I can't get the C chord, it's driving me crazy. So I am cheating a little bit because I should be strumming the chord on the up and then moving to the new chord, but because of my difficulties getting the chord, I'm actually doing that on the up stroke. It should work, but I have got to work on those chord changes, and that's something that's that I'm going to have to work on big time. I'm just back into chord hell again. I don't know why it is. The riff, I've only practiced the riff for about half an hour, and I've already got that, not down, but certainly not too bad. It's certainly, I think it's recognisable. But when we start getting into the chords, again, just moving between these shapes is horrendous. Something I've got to work on, something I will get there with, but it's just teaching these, I'm starting to call my fingers dogs. It's like teaching old dogs new tricks. It's not easy. So that is going to be the new Ego song. Whether I will crack this over the 2-week period or whether it goes over the 4-week period, I don't know, but I'm unlikely to get back with Michael until after lockdown, which is going to be December, so it could well be 4 weeks before I actually review this with him. And interestingly, with regards to the Ego song, I've actually put this together and I'm trying to teach myself using online resources. So the music sheet that I put together for myself, which isn't correct by any stretch of the imagination, is cobbling together bits and pieces that I have got off of the internet, and also by listening to Eric Clapton playing this song over and over and over again, and just trying to map things in and get something sensible that works for me. So towards the end of the song, he tends to noodle around a little bit. I'm not actually doing that. Hopefully when I do the play along, I'm going to just be playing the chords straight through. So there's a little bit of poetic license in there. For that reason, I'm not necessarily planning on putting the chord sheet up, or the music and tab sheet up, like I normally do. But if you are interested in that and want to follow me along, please leave a comment below and I will consider that. And maybe if you're interested, let me know, and I might do a tutorial video on this once I've actually got a little bit better about it, so maybe in a week or two's time. So then we moved on to the project. Now the project is really exciting because the whole reason that I picked up the guitar and started to learn is I want to do some of the sort of ambient meandering solos, sort of David Gilmour style. Those of you that know me will know I'm a complete Pink Floyd nut. Over 90% of my Spotify listening over the past 2-3 years has all been Pink Floyd. I've got it on when I'm working, I've got it on when I'm cooking, I've got it on all the time. I just adore the guitar work that David does, and more recently I've got some of his own work. I was listening to Rattle That Lock over the weekend and just love it. So what I want to be doing is striking some chords and then just learning to noodle over it using the pentatonic scales. So we've moved to doing that, and I was hoping in this lesson that Michael would have me, well actually I was hoping that he would have me doing the pentatonic scale bit and he would be doing the chords. We did actually do that at the end very, very briefly. He did an E and an A minor chord, and I was just noodling over the A minor pentatonic scale, which sounded really good, and it's really got me quite excited about where we're going to go with this. There was no bending, there was no vibrato, it was just very basic. But it is the first tiny step towards where I'd like to be in a year or two's time, or sooner maybe. But we didn't start off with him playing the chords and me playing the pentatonic scale as I thought. It turned into, and thank goodness I chose an hour for this. I mean, the fact that we're going into lockdown, I thought let's just do an hour face to face while I could. Thank goodness we did. I'm going to grab this piece of paper. I haven't typed this up, and I probably will, and you probably won't be able to see that. But the lesson was nearly all theory, and he kept blowing my mind. I mean, seriously blowing my mind. I mean, I've always understood, and if you look at a piano keyboard, there is no E sharp and B sharp until this lesson. And then I learnt that there is an E sharp and a B sharp. What the heck? And it was just like, so the reason for it is we were exploring the scales, because obviously the key that you're playing in, or the scale that you're playing, justifies the chords that you're going to play, or the chords that are being played in whichever key justifies the pentatonic boxes and where you play them on the fretboard. Now, I'm not going to get into great detail with this. If you're interested, I will try and do a video on what we covered, because it was fascinating from a beginner's point of view, and it was important. But I'm not going to chew up this video, other than to just tempt you. I mean, we started off with the C major scale, so C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. And then we put in the steps. So 2 steps, 2 steps, 1 step, 2 step, 2 step, 2 step, 1 step. All of that was fairly straightforward. And then to get to the minor scale from a major, you just move it back 3 frets. So that gave us the A minor scale, which was A minor, B, C, D, E minor, F, G, and then A minor. So those are basically the chords that we'll be able to play when we're playing the A minor pentatonic. But he also took me through this whole scale thing and how it moves around. So basically what you do is you take the C major scale, you move 5 places, which gives you the G major scale, which is G, A, B, C, D, E, F sharp, G, because when you start putting the steps in, you wind up with an F sharp. And then we moved it forward another 5 places, which gives you the D major scale, and these are all the scales in order. And when you write that out with D, E, F, G, A, B, C, D, and you start putting your steps in, so 2 steps, 2 steps, 1 step, etc., you find that you always take the sharp from the previous scale. So we take our F and that becomes an F sharp. But then to keep the sequence in, we actually add an additional sharp, which is C sharp. And the same thing happens all the way through. So you start adding in sharps and flats accordingly, until such time as you get down to the next C major scale. As you can tell, this really frazzled my brain, and it's frazzling my brain even just looking at this piece of paper. So when we get to the C sharp, or the C major scale for the second time, they all become sharps, which means, you know, we've got E sharps and B sharps in there, which I didn't think you could have, but effectively an E sharp is simply an F. But because of this rule where you're dropping these sharps in, it is called an E sharp and a B sharp rather than being an F and a C. It's really complicated. It's fascinating stuff. And so that blew my mind straight away. And then Michael threw in another curveball for me. So he said, this thing is never ending. You can just keep going. But what happens then is you end up with double sharps. So if I've got this right, this second G scale is G sharp, A sharp, B sharp, C sharp, D sharp, E sharp, F double sharp, G sharp. What the heck is a double sharp? Well, of course, it just moves it on two places. So I guess that, yeah, an F sharp, I think, becomes a G. I think, I'm not sure. It really is confusing. So I'm happy to type this up a little bit better and just try and take you through this, because it was fascinating. And then he finished up with the circle of fifths, which confused me even more. And in fact, I will need to ask him a question about the circle of fifths, because that got really complicated. But the whole lesson was given over to this piece of paper, basically so that I can work out which pentatonic box to play over which chords, or which chords to play over which pentatonic scales. It's really useful to know, and it was fascinating. And we finished up, as I said, with Michael playing the E minor and A minor scale, E minor and A minor chords, I believe, and then I was just playing the A minor pentatonic, and yeah, that was really good. It did give me some enthusiasm and really sort of looking forward to where we're going to be going with that journey. So if you are interested in learning how to solo using the pentatonic scales over chords, and you want to do this really slowly as a beginner, then please subscribe to this channel if you haven't already, because that is exactly what I'm hoping to be doing for the foreseeable future. I don't know how long it's going to take, but that is what the project is going to be all about. And I'm going to be introducing the looper pedal into there, and that's going to be on the Boss ME80. And if things go the way that I hope they're going, I've got my eye on a looping beat station that I may well get. Just massive plans. So if you haven't already subscribed, please consider it. For those of you that have subscribed, thank you ever so much. Supporting the channel is really appreciated, and I'm very grateful. But that was this lesson. It was the 4th of November, the last day before the UK went back into lockdown. It could be another 4 weeks before I actually get together with Michael, although we'll get together on Skype, but the Skype lessons aren't that great. So I'm going to be working very hard on Wonderful Tonight and also the project song. And I just want to do a quick shout out. The Wonderful Tonight that I'm doing is obviously on the electric guitar, and I'm doing it for the slides and things. And with the chords, you can do down, up, or you can, I think this term is correct, you can arpeggiate the chords. In other words, you're playing individual notes. And that's something else that I might do, because Eric Clapton does that on one of the videos I was watching over the weekend, and it is awesome. Sounds wonderful. But an online acquaintance, I'd like to say friend, an online friend of mine, Buck, his channel is Guitar Journey. He's been learning Wonderful Tonight on his acoustic fingerstyle. And if you want to see what a beginner can do with fingerstyle in this particular tune over a few weeks, then go and check out his video. I'll link to it below, because he's done brilliantly. And he actually was watching his videos that got me into looking at Wonderful Tonight. It's a wonderful song. And then I obviously found that suited me really well for the bending and the slides. So I've kept it for this point in my journey. But if you're interested in the finger picking and doing it properly, then go and check out his video. It's really good. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. I appreciate your time. I appreciate your support to the channel, and I look forward to seeing you on another video coming very soon. In the meantime, I'm going to work on that wonderful little riff again, because I love it to bits, and I'm going to just play out this video with that. So take care, stay safe, be well, and I'll see you again very soon. That's the best I've ever played that. Oh man, I love this riff. I love this riff. Now I've just got to get into these Damn chords, but there we go. Thanks very much for watching. Catch you again. Bye.